mexicana Ciudad de México. Para ofrecerle una estancia más agradable y segura en nuestras instalaciones, le pedimos seguir las siguientes indicaciones de seguridad. Actualmente nos encontramos en el auditorio José Sánchez Villaseñor. En este momento, visualice las rutas de evacuación señalizadas en las puertas de entrada del auditorio y por la salida de emergencia ubicada del lado derecho del estrado. Localice la ruta de salida más cercana que le pueda llevar hacia el punto de reunión establecido en el Jardín de los Lobos. En caso de emergencia, se activará la alarma de evacuación. Al escucharla, guarde la calma y siga la ruta de salida que localizó y que le llevará al punto de reunión establecido en el Jardín de los Lobos. No corra, no grite y no empuje. Siga las instrucciones de las brigadas de evacuación. En caso de sismo, se activará la alerta sísmica. Al escucharla, guarde la calma. Resguárdese en su lugar o en las zonas de menor riesgo que están debidamente señalizadas. Evite desplazarse mientras perciba el movimiento. Existen objetos que pueden lastimarle en caso de que caigan. Posterior al sismo, siga las indicaciones de las brigadas de evacuación. El día de hoy, no tenemos algún simulacro programado, por lo que, en caso de escuchar la alarma de evacuación o la alerta sísmica, siga las instrucciones de las brigadas de evacuación. Por su atención, muchas gracias.
Segunda llamada, segunda llamada. Hay muchos lugares al frente todavía, por si gustan los que van llegando, sentarse más hacia el frente. Aquí pusieron, puso Manuela dos mensajes de protección civil. Es que puso este que puso 850 y luego cuando doy la tercera llamada dice mensaje de protección civil. ¿Siempre ves? ¿O nada más así no? Sí, puso 850, segunda llamada, protección civil. Tercera llamada, después a las 9, mensaje de protección civil. Sí, es el mismo, ¿no? Sí. Estamos, son las 9 en puntito, como dijo que esperáramos 2 minutitos para... Sí. Porque si no luego empieza y están, ¿no? Al frente hay muchos lugares por si gustan pasar. Aquí tenemos casi 2 filas vacías, si gustan venirse de este lado.
Al frente hay lugares para los que van llegando. Al frente hay lugares para los que van llegando. Tercera llamada, vamos a comenzar y dejo el micrófono a la doctora Sandra Montes de Oca.
Buenos días a quienes nos acompañan el día de hoy. Es para mí motivo de innegable beneplácito ser parte de este ciclo de conferencias y lo es más aún presentar al emérito académico Minoru Asada, quien entre sus numerosos cargos es doctor de la Universidad es doctor de Ingeniería de Control por la Universidad de Osaka, vicepresidente de la Universidad Profesional Internacional de Tecnología de esa misma ciudad, director de investigación del proyecto de inteligencia sinérgica Asada, a cargo de la Agencia de Ciencia y Tecnología de Japón, así como líder del proyecto de investigación sobre ciencia del desarrollo constructivo basado en la comprensión del proceso de neurodinámica para la interacción social. No es exagerado decir que si me detuviera a enumerar todos los cargos, premios y reconocimientos obtenidos por el prestigioso académico, el doctor Asada, alteraría el horario y la logística de este evento, pues ocuparía más tiempo del debido, así que me reduciré a mencionar lo que entiendo es lo más relevante. El doctor Asada ha sido profesor desde abril de 1997 en el Departamento de Sistemas de Máquinas Adaptativas de la Universidad de Osaka y a partir del 2013, director de la División de Robótica y Neurociencia Cognitiva en el Instituto de Iniciativas Académicas de la misma institución. Entre los múltiples premios que ha recibido el doctor Asada, perdón, Ale, ¿me ayudas?
Sí, buenos días. Entre los múltiples premios a los que nuestro invitado se ha hecho merecedor, destaca el otorgado al mejor artículo de 1992 por la Conferencia Internacional sobre Robot y Sistemas Inteligentes. 9 años más tarde, recibió un elogio del ministro de Educación, Cultura, Deportes, Ciencia y Tecnología del Gobierno de Japón como persona de servicio distinguido para iluminar a las personas sobre ciencia y tecnología. Además, en 2005 fue elegido miembro del Instituto de Ingenieros en Electricidad y Electrónica por sus contribuciones al aprendizaje y aplicaciones de los robots y 2 años después fue galardonado con el premio de publicaciones Okawa para recibir en 2008 el premio Good Designs por la Organización Japonesa de Promoción de Diseño Industrial. Por si esto fuera poco, el doctor Asada ha impartido múltiples conferencias alrededor del mundo, ha publicado más de 200 artículos científicos y escrito numerosos libros sobre sus áreas de interés, que incluyen la robótica, campo de estudio y desarrollo que se enfoca en diseñar, construir y operar robots, la inteligencia artificial, por supuesto, disciplina que explora la simulación de procesos de inteligencia humana mediante la programación de sistemas informáticos y la robótica del desarrollo cognitivo. Enfoque que busca construir robots capacitados para adquirir habilidades y conocimientos de manera similar a cómo lo hacen los seres humanos durante su desarrollo, lo que implica la incorporación de procesos de aprendizaje, percepción y adaptación en el diseño de robots para lograr comportamientos más flexibles y adaptables en entornos cambiantes. Como les decía, referir, así sea en un módico resumen, lo más importante del currículum y el historial académico del doctor Asada pondría en peligro la duración de esta reunión, así que cerraré esta somera relación mencionando que el doctor fue recientemente reconocido por la Sociedad Japonesa para la Promoción de la Ciencia y ha resultado campeón de la Liga Mediana en la primera competencia de RoboCup realizada en Nagoya, Japón. Su equipo llamado Hoi-Tech en la Liga Humanoide Adult Size obtuvo en 2013 el campeonato y el premio al mejor humanoide. Doctor, siéntese usted sinceramente bienvenido en la Universidad Iberoamericana, Ciudad de México. Muchas gracias por su atención y les pedimos un aplauso para el doctor.
Okay. It's a power. On.
¿Está prendido? ¿No está prendido? Está prendido.
Power. Okay. Thank you for a very, very long introduction. I have no idea what kind of the contents in the, because I don't speak any Spanish. Okay, anyhow, good morning, everyone. First of all, the congratulations of the 80th anniversary of the IBERO University. And also, I really appreciate the, the staffs and everyone here. And thank you for inviting me to the very honorable event and giving me a chance to my talk here. The title of my talk today is Rethinking Autonomy of Humans and Robots. The subtitle is Robot Sense of the Agency, Self, the Pain, and Ethics. So the autonomy itself is just autonomy, but it's related to the sense of the agency, self, pain, and ethics. So today I like to talk about these issues and how I attack these issues. Of course, it's not perfect the achievement, but some sort of the struggling with these issues. Okay. Wow. All right. Okay. So it's already down, the self-introduction. But one of the issues is the acknowledgement of the research project. Currently, I have the NEDO, the Japanese funding agency project, and mainly the JST Listics project. And today, I'd like to mention about the many research issues comes from the JST Minoru Asada project. It has done maybe almost 10 years ago, well, 11 years ago. But anyhow, let's go. Okay. So I have the two prologues. First one is Leonardo da Vinci. That's a pioneer or interdisciplinary research. It's Leonardo da Vinci who had the strong wish of the imagination and creation beyond the boundaries among the science, technology, and arts. If he were alive today, he must be the robotics researchers. The door to or the future will be opened through the facing with the robot who exhibit all aspects of the human science. So robotics, many people suppose that engineering, but I suppose that the robotics include all kinds of the disciplines. The AI and also it's engineering, but also the science, the neuroscience and the cognitive science and the psychology. And so nowadays some ethical issues are much more important. Okay, so I created the Leonardo da Vinci, the android. If you mention the android, Professor Hiroshi Ishiguro, he was my colleague, is a very famous one. And I used the company to create this android. So before this android, the Hiroshi Ishiguro's androids, all the time real person exists. But as you know, the Leonardo da Vinci is a person more than 500 years ago. Therefore, we do not have any data about him. Therefore, we contacted with Leonardo da Vinci Museum, Milan, in Italy. And finally, we decided the age of the Leonardo da Vinci, very senior person. The actuator is the pneumatic actuator to reproduce the very soft movement of the facial expression. And due to the limit of the budget, only the head movement, no movement of the arm or the legs, like this one. Actually, this is already 8 years ago, but it's very sophisticated technology to reproduce the facial expression. So you can see that. And then we had an exhibition of the World Expo, in 2015 in the Milan, Italy. And we had an exhibition of this android at the museum. Okay. I don't speak any Italian, so I just spoke in the English, but anyhow. So the exhibition is here, and then actually this android is not full autonomy, teleoperation. The backyard, there is a teleoperator, okay.
questo è un ambito di ricerca particolarmente sviluppato, soprattutto in Giappone, perché ha l'obiettivo di realizzare dei robot che siano in grado di interagire con l'essere umano secondo modalità molto vicine a quelle dell'essere umano, quindi sia dal punto di vista cognitivo, dal punto di vista intellettivo e linguistico.
So this is the back side. So teleoperator have the headset and then the speak and push the some button of the facial expression, the surprise or the smile and so on. So after that, so the system automatically reproduces very facial expression, very this one. And also the headset has a gyro sensor. So the movement of the teleoperator immediately copied to the Android. And also the headset can, speak to the visitors in the almost real time. Okay. That this shows that the headset has a movement copied to the render by the gyro sensors and the conversations with the visitors, and also pushing the facial expression. Okay. The second one is RoboCup. I'm one of the founders of the RoboCup. You know the RoboCup? Okay, good. It's pushing the state of the art. It is our intention to use the RoboCup as a vehicle to promote robotics and AI research by offering the publicly appealing but formidable challenge. The dream is we propose that the ultimate goal of the RoboCup initiative is to set as follows. By middle of the 21st century, actually, we say that by 2050, a team of fully autonomous human-robot soccer players shall witness a soccer game complying with the official rules of the FIFA against the winner of the most recent World Cup. Actually, 2050, I became the 97. I'm not sure still alive or not. Therefore, we created the RoboCup Junior, the next generation. But actually, at the beginning, we intend to do some research community. But actually, the education side is much more powerful. The RoboCup Junior is from elementary school to the high school students, really motivated. Of course, the graduate students too. But anyhow, so the RoboCup is a very, very good tool, useful tool for the education. Okay, so next one. Okay, actually, we held the RoboCup 2012. Okay, 11 years ago. That's the first time for me to come here. But unfortunately, I was attacked with the water, not the water, but the ice. So during the RoboCup, I stayed at the hotel. But anyhow, we have the RoboCup already here, okay? And the recent one, so due to the COVID-19, we canceled the event 2020, and the 2021 we have the virtual one, and the 2022 last year we had the Bangkok in person, and this year we had in the border. I really enjoyed the French wine. Okay, so this is an exhibition of the champion team, the middle-sized league, and the human teams. Human teams is the trustees of the RoboCup federations. Okay, so of course, the robot team got not, they have not get the win, but it's the goal, own goal. And the next one is this year's now it's a standard platform. In this case, the hardware is fixed, the same. Therefore, the team compete each other by the software. But depending on the software, the behavior is so much different. Anyhow, there are some shooting scene here. Just look at. All the time fall down and stand up, okay? Yeah, this has actually happened in the RoboCup, okay? Yeah, now the shooting, yes. Oh, already, okay. Okay, so outline of today, like this one, that interaction, autonomy in humans and machines. That's the main topic in my talk. And next one, I introduce cognitive development robotics and its philosophical background. And third one is self-agency. And fourth, the pain nervous system is a key component for the conscious mind, empathy, and new ethics. And the number 5 is David Chalmers' claim, could LLM be the conscious? Also yesterday, Paul mentioned the LLM, the large language model, the ChatGPT. And David Chalmers' claim is that could LLM be conscious or not? Actually, I will explain the more detail about this one in the workshop after my talk. And finally, the summary. Okay. So introduction is that AI and the robotics technology, they need some certain kind of autonomy. That to reconsider the meaning of the autonomy from not only the technical aspect, but from also the broader aspect. This talk, my thought and idea on the issue from the diverse perspective, not only the technical robotics, AI, neuroscience, psychology, cognitive science, and so on, but also the philosophical, ethical, legal, and social impact aspect. The aim of this talk is to share the idea to solve the potential issue of the current, the ChatGPT and the future AI, and autonomous robots and systems. We aim to design AI and autonomous systems with human capabilities, almost same as the human capabilities, such as abstract thinking and adaptability, and beliefs such as trust and accessibility in mind. Of course, we try to build the design, the robots, which may have the almost the same human capability, but of course, it's not exactly the same. We share something, but there are some different parts, different regions, each other. Okay. What autonomy? I asked ChatGPT. Okay, the term of the autonomy may have many definitions in terms of that discipline. Please show me the variety of the definition from the diverse perspective, the technical and so on, so on. Okay, the ChatGPT answer. Okay, certainly, autonomy is a multifaceted term that has been explored in a variety of disciplines, each bringing to its own nuance and emphasis. Here is a breakdown of the meaning. It's across the different perspectives. And then this is okay. This is answers. Okay, robotics, AI is almost the same one. The capability of the perform task and make decisions on its own without human interventions. And in case of the AI, it's the capability to perform tasks to make decisions with minimal human intervention. A little bit different. Okay, and neuroscience, the brain's abilities to function and make decisions independently of the external influence. So the mentions that without human intervention, or with minimal human intervention, or the ability to decision independently of the external influence. So can we do that perfectly? Even though we say, okay, without the human interventions or independently of external influences, but actually it is very difficult. In some sense, we all the time influenced by the others in the social environment. Therefore, it's not so perfectly independent. They're all the time depending on each other and some social environment. So the cognitive science encompasses both neuroscience and the psychology definitions, focusing on how the cognition supports the autonomous behavior. Philosophy is that refers the capacity of a relational agent to direct their own actions, free from certain kinds of the external and the internal concerns. Again, independent, free from the certain kind. Is that true or not? Most serious issue is a legal one. In the context of the AI robotics, the legal definition of autonomy is still being debated. Can an AI have the right or responsibility? Who is responsible for the autonomous machine's actions? So before we suppose that the human being is here and the object is here, all the time human beings can control the object, okay? But now object, AI and robotics, sometimes much capable, more capable than humans. So it's so difficult the human beings control everything of the object. So therefore, the autonomy is very, very fuzzy term to define. And in case of the legal system, the responsibility is very, very difficult to define. Now already the AI robotic system make decisions. So therefore, the responsibility is where? So regular system suppose that all the time responsibility should go to the humans or the human beings, not to the slave, okay, in the past. But now the robot and AI system make a decision. Therefore, some sort of the responsibility should go to the autonomous system, but it's exactly the same one or not. That's a big issue, okay? So the different disciplines have a varying emphasis on the content when concerns when it comes to the autonomy. For instance, for the robotics might be concerned with the technical aspect, that's me, and the making a machine function autonomously. Philosopher might be more interested in the deeper implications of what means for the being, human or otherwise, to act autonomously. Similarly, legal scholar might be concerned with how laws and the regulations adapt to the increasing autonomous entities in society. As you know, AI and the robotics technology is rapidly advanced, okay? On the other hand, the legal system is very conservative. Very conservative. It's difficult to change. So now it's a very big argument between the most advanced technology and the legal system. So it's thinking about the autonomy in humans and the machines. Of course, the robots do not have the concept of the self yet as an agent, as an active agent or the clear communication that it is a module to decision making. The robot seems to lack the true autonomy. However, even for humans, the free will is only virtual. And it's clear from neuroscience that our level of consciousness is constantly being adjusted by various internal processes. So we suppose that we have a free will, but actually many processes under the unconscious level, they're working, and then pop out something, and then the conscious mind catch this one. So the free will, we decide something, but before that, already our body started to react. So therefore, free will is kind of the virtual one, okay? So thus, it is difficult to insist that only human beings have the pure autonomy, as is proposed in the Kantor's moral philosophy, which is I discuss later. While artificial systems lack true autonomy, but clearly, the difference between them appears relative and context dependent. Okay, so in the early 1970s, Chilean biologists, Maturana and Valera, they proposed some autopoiesis focused on the self-creation and including regeneration and self-boundary decisions. That's a very purely biological aspect. If we apply this idea strictly, any artificial system cannot be the autonomous, but it's instead the heteronomous. However, the computer simulation of the self-creation developed by Manuel and Valera is an autopoietic system, which is also showing the autopoietic natures. So it seems possible for the machine programs to exhibit autopoieticity. Furthermore, the human beings also sometimes show the heteronomous behavior, while we should be autopoietic. So therefore, that I mean, the difference of the autonomy between the human and the AI system is relative and context dependent. Because we know that many, not so many, but some people are not so well motivated, all the time obey the mission instruction, or some the workers just obey the supervisors. So is there any autonomy or not? So that I mean, the autonomy is all the time the relative and the context dependent. Okay, so shifting from the sensory motor system of individuals to the social system level, the autopoietic nature in the strictly biological sense is weakened. Yeah, if we seeking for the purely the biological aspect, the artificial system, AI system, or the robotics cannot exist. So, but if we moved from the individual or the sensory motor system to the more the social system, the global one. So the biological sense is weakened. Therefore, in that sense, that its meaning may be derived as a more essential or machine-shared property. Actually, the Barrera is shifted his idea of the Michel Foucault and the Merleau-Ponty. He demonstrated the importance of the interaction and the communication and the cells for autonomy norms to be updated. The machine autonomy could be the more authentic if the concept of the self, the agency, the empathy, and ethics are introduced into the design. Of course, not exactly the same as ours, but a kind of the new type. So in this talk, I showed how we have been struggling with these issues. As I mentioned, not perfect answers, but just struggling, but some sort of a hint we obtained. So second one, the cognitive development progress and its philosophical background. So, okay. The first, the cognitive development robotics. The cognitive development robotics aims at understanding the human cognitive development process by synthetic or concept approaches that the computer simulations and real robot experiment. Its core idea is physical environment and the social interaction. That enable information structuring through the interaction with the environment, including the other agents. At the beginning, we suppose that physical environment and the social interaction is separate. Physical embodiment is a very early stage, and later the social interaction happens. But actually not. Both together. Of course, the balance, the ratio a little bit different in the early stage, but still social interaction from the beginning. And the social interaction all the time include some physical embodiment. So the first background. So as you know, René Descartes, he claims that some mind and body dualisms. So the subject and object are different. So very strong idea of the clear definition of the separation. But later, it is impossible for me to explain everything, but anyhow. So the Husserl claimed a phenomenological reduction. It's just not a clear definition, a separation, but some sort of the interaction is very important. And also phenomenology of the perception is Merleau-Ponty mentions that the physical environment, and these guys mentioned about the new ethics. So today I just focus on the one guy, so Italian philosopher, the Pico. And he mentioned that the precursor of the systematic and the complex thought in opposition to the Cartesian analysis and other types of reduction. He against the Descartes' Cartesian analysis, and was the first explosion of the fundamentals of the social science of the semiotics. The principle states that truth is verified through the creation or invention, and not as a per Descartes' sort of observation, through observations. That's a very, very strong support for us. We try to, make the clear understanding of the, what's the cognitive development. Of course, it's very difficult. So the existing discipline all the time, the explanation. But ours is a design principle, create something, and then to verify how it works. So therefore, the Pico mentioned at the 1710, many years ago, but he mentioned that creation is a real essence of the design or for the real understanding. That's our support of the discipline. Okay. And also the two guys is Heidegger's famous of the being in the world. It's just about the time, the way of the presentary being for each of these entities as situated among others. And non-exist independently, but are unified in their existence by the pre-understanding of how each interact in the constitute of the situation characterized by the purposeful activities. So interaction And so temporal difference, okay, the temporal cost of the change is very important. It's kind of the social interaction. At the Merleau-Ponty environment as the additional dimension of the emerging in which flesh of the same tangibility as well as the same thickness can be given into the both subject to touching or seeing and the object being touched or being seen. So this means that the environment. So we're, one more? Okay. The Merleau-Ponty examines the body as ambiguous being that are neither subject or object. The body is a medium connecting the objective world and the subjective sense, subjective experience, the connecting. So on the Merleau-Ponty account, when the seeing is regarded as being seen, seeing and being seen, and touched and being touched is the same one. So interwin and their relevance through the embodiment is iterated. So this is a very big essence of our cognitive development of robotics. Okay, so I touched the issue of the self and the agency. So according to the neither the definitions, he is the psychologist. So there are some 5 kind of the development of the self, but we summarize the later 3 ones as a social self. Anyhow, the first one is ecological self. That's the agent interact with the environment. That we say the ecological self or the minimal self. So synchronization with the environment. The second one is interpersonal self. The typical situation is a baby and the caregiver, the interactions. So really the baby at the beginning just the ecological self. So the mother is just object, environment. But gradually the infant realizes that the mother like me, kind of the agent. And then finally the social self. We suppose that some sort of the mechanisms, it's under the pictures, is in case of the ecological self, entrainment and the predictive motor control. And in the personal self, in the turn taking, therefore some sort of the inhibition. And in case of the social self, active control added. We expect that these, the function, not simply we add, but some sort of the emergence through some interaction, dynamic interactions. So physical body in synchronization and self as identification and desynchronization, self as separations. That's the idea of the development of the self as a cognition. So the minimal self or the ecological self. So the Gallagher published the paper 2000, based on some idea of the sensory feedback and the sensory feedforward, the forward model and the comparator model and the feedback. So minimal self is that like this one. How to discriminate our body from others. It's very easy or not. Suppose that if your movement picture the photo or the movie in the camera, and your movement and other movement together, and if you look at the movie, which hand yours? It's not so easy. So if you send it's a real-time movie, it's easy. So you send the motor command, open, close, and some synchronization in the movie. Some hand is synchronized with the motor command. So that's the idea of the sensory feedback. So this is a comparator model. Actually, to 1999, 1 year before the Gallagher's paper, we published the paper of the RoboCup, self as a discrimination. How the player discriminates the own and the others and the ball and the goals. So just 1 year before the Gallagher's paper, but the same thing happened. Okay, anyhow. So in case of the interceptive predictive coding model, it's a CES published a paper on this one. So sense of agency is also the sense of the presence. It's a new idea. The agency component is based on the Fritz's well-established comparator model that I mentioned, the schizophrenia, that recently extended to the Bayesian frame network. And also the Haggard explained the Gallagher's 2 aspects, agency and ownership of the model movement, and prediction as a post-prediction. Prediction is just prediction, The post-prediction is after the event, we interpret it in any way. It's sometimes not a real one. It's just an explanation, okay? And cause them the sense of agency as a whole. This figure, everything together, the sense of agency as a whole. So how to design the sense of agency? The Legapsky et al. Proposed the model of the human sense of agency in an interactive situation with a robot that has not been data by the Haggard based on the following fact. Okay, the sense of agency before just only about the ecological self, the self and the environment. But in case of the other agent, in a situation with other agent, it's not so easy. The Cardio et al. Says that, experimentally shows that, generally speaking, human sense of agency could be reduced by the existence of others. Okay, in the environment, okay, so the support model and feedback model, I have my own body, this is my movement, it's okay. But if existence of others, somehow, considering the other movement, others one, so sense of agency of self is reduced. Similarly, it was reduced by the existence of a robot who appeared to have its intention. So with the existence of the other agent, sense of the agency of the self is reduced. Why? It's a big mystery. Okay. So with the coupling of the sense of agency in human and AI or robot, interaction with the first person's FE and the second person SP perspective of the sense of agency. The AI or human process intrinsic sense of agency in the first person, that he or her own, okay? And each has a model of a mental representation of the other's first perspective one. So you can see that human, FP is a human itself, the sense of agency. SP is the second person, is the sense of the agency of others. So the FP of the human is SP of the AI. And FP of the AI is SP of the humans, also close to each other, okay? Very analytical situation happened. The dilemma is that an AI simply demonstrating the high sense of the agency may reduce the human sense of the agency because the human perspective of the AI to be controlling the humans. This one, the top figure. As I mentioned in the world, with the existence of others, the sense of the agency reduced. In this case, the AI, not the real human, but the AI may show some high capability. In that case, humans, the sense of agency is reduced. And second, the AI, upon perceiving the decrease in the human sense of agency, must then carefully choose its next actions, or perhaps perform no action at all to increase the human sense of agency. This is a very similar situation of in the elementary school. Teachers and the people in the elementary school, so the teachers make a plan to something so that the pupils, students do that by themselves. But actually teachers, the setup, the environment. The same situation happened. Then the AI, armed with the understanding of the both human and its own sense of agency, can then better respond to the improve rather than the human sense of agency. This explains, human and the AI, but exactly the same as the human and the human, right? So that's sense of agency is very, very sensitive issues. Okay. So some guy is some computational model. The model of sense of agency in the framework of the optimal Bayesian cube integration with mutually involved principles, namely the reliability of the action and outcome sensory signals, the consistency with causation of the outcome by the action, and the prior belief in the causation. Anyhow, so the Bayesian estimation is easily applied to the computational model of the sense of the agency. Yeah, that's actually I mentioned. We published in 1999. The situation is the RoboCup in the passer and the shooter. So the both sides have try to estimate the others, not the sense of others, but the self and not the self Oh, okay, self and not the self and others. Okay, so we have the local prediction model, and then so look at that. Okay, the historical length is the time sequence. Just one picture, one video frame, or 2 video frame sequence, or 3 video frame sequence. For the shooter, goal is a static environment. For example, the shooter, neck movement. If go to the right, image of the goal is go to the left. It's a very simple, correlation. Therefore, just one frame is okay to estimate the goal movement. About the ball is maybe the shooter kicked, like this one. In that case, some sort of the causability. So movement of the action, this one, and the ball is rolling. It's a very strong correlation. But sometimes, ball is kicked by others. Therefore, it's not so easy. It's by own the movement. Therefore, at the beginning, 2 frames to estimate the velocity. But actually, 4 frames is necessary to estimate the ball movement kicked by others. And also the passer. Passer is at the beginning. It's a very, very interesting situation. Shooter and the passer is some sort of teamwork. Okay, therefore some sort of the correlation, not only 1 frame. So actually, the shooter needs the 5 frames to estimate the passer's movement. And for the passer, predict the shooter's movement, the passer needs 5 frames. Not only the velocity, not only the acceleration, but the more complicated situation or more complicated, interaction of them. Okay, so, okay. The state vector estimation by the local prediction model, how much the action can predict may correspond to the sense of the agency in the sense of the Gallagher. So, okay, I realized the time so much quickly, but I suppose maybe not half of them yet. Okay, I speed up. I skip this one. Okay, the pain nervous system is one of the key components of my talk here. Okay, related to the empathy and the neuroscience. The working hypothesis is that embedding touch pain nervous system into robots, the robot use this to understand touch pain in others, the mirror neuron system. The empathy and the morality emerge, and could the robot be agent who could be moral being and subject to moral consideration, and finally legal system for robot AI should be considered. You can see that the color is gradually is black and gray and light gray means my confidence. Okay, so first one is embedding the touch pain nervous system in robots. Okay, so there are very thick book around this one. The Wall and the textbook of the pain, the very famous one in this area. And the survey I this one. The from when we have the pain sensations. So biologically, this is the left figure is a human beings, is an embryo, is 18 days after the conception. Okay, and then you can see that gradually central nervous system of the brain is constructed. The second, the center image is not the humans, but the embryo of the rat. You can see that there are some origin of the sensation of the mechanoreceptor. Mechanoreceptor is a normal touch. And the second one is autonomic reflex. Okay, anyhow, sorry. Proprioception is just the body image and so on. And the mechanoreceptor is just touching. And the final one, nociception neurons. That's the origin of the pain. So at the beginning, from the beginning, or the evolutionary embedded from the beginning. But after the conception, the gradually nervous system happen. Okay, when to discriminate the pain from touch? So this is some study about the preterm babies. Okay, so some guy found that a special neural circuit necessary for discrimination between the touch and the nociception emerged from 37 weeks gestation in the human brain, just before the birth. the human baby, human baby can discriminate pain and touch. Okay, so at the beginning, so after the birth, they have already can discriminate the pain and touch. Okay, this shows the pain nervous system, and descending system modulates the transmission of ascending pain signals. So we have the two types of the modulation. As I mentioned, the pain nervous system and mechanoreceptor system, the different pathway, neural pathway, but they interact in the spinal cord. It's just, if we have some pain, we're just having like this one. Okay, very, very universal. Because actually, if the pain happened, the signal is going away, but the rubbing is a mechanoreceptor happen and stop the signal going on in the pain. So that's gate theory. That's modulation from the bottom up. On the other hand, we have also some modulation from top down. So actually, we have the parallel pain pathways. First one is sensory discriminative. What kind of pain, how long, and where? That already exists before the birth. Okay. On the other hand, affective as a motivational one, the memory of pain or something, trauma or something. So the prediction, sometimes the prediction of the collision is reduce the pain, even though the collision. Okay. This is a reduce the pain. But on the other hand, remembering the trauma, they increase the pain, the mental pain. So therefore, this kind of modulation happened after the birth. So, okay, I skip this one and this one. And some sort of the preliminary experiment. We designed very, very soft sensors, soft tactile sensors like this one. Okay, very, very soft. And some kind of robot abuse. Okay, it's a touching. You can see that touch signal captured. And then, some kind of abuse. But still no damage, because we separated the tactile sensors and the measuring device. Okay, so we applied this one to we try to apply this one to the robot. Okay. So the same sensor, the video is the same sensor, soft touch. You can see the 3-axis, the force, X, Y, Z. And then hammer, very strong touch. Okay, so you can see that some painful situation. Anyhow, in the signal level, we can discriminate the soft touch and the hard touch. That means the pain and touch, okay? So actually, okay, this reflection, we embedded such kind of the reflection, the facial expression. But actually, we have some sort of the facial muscle to react to the pain. So that's also probably the evolutionary embedded from the beginning. So to create the facial expression, we need some facial motion analysis for the robot design. So we put the markers on the human face, one of my students, okay? And then, so we measure movement. You can see the movement like this one, okay? And bottom, okay. Anyhow, by using the PCA, principal component analysis, we examined how many degrees of freedom inside the facial expression, and that's a good information for design of the facial expression. Okay, ready? Okay, and then go. Okay, so this actually is android, the child android, and I forgot how many degrees of freedom. Oh, okay. I've had the new child android with 16 degrees of freedom for skin deformation, 3 degrees of freedom for neck, and 2 degrees of freedom for eyes. Okay, but the lip is easily broken all the time, so we need care all the time. But anyhow, so we designed this one and this one. Okay, I skip. And okay, one more is this is the early stage of the pain experience. Is the vision system watch the painful situation and memorize, and also through the amygdala or anterior cingulate, the cortex and so on. Okay. So third one is empathy in the robot morality. I suppose maybe I finish on this one. Okay. Okay, I mentioned the mirror neuron system. Do you know the mirror neuron system? Please raise your hand if you know the. Okay. Very few, okay. This is actually found by Italian physiologist. It's Rizzolatti's group. In the monkey's brain, there are some mirror neuron. For example, pickup neuron. For example, the pickup neuron, this one. Also, in the macaque monkeys, in the F5, area of F5, some neuron happen as activated. So just we say pickup neuron, okay? This neuron activated when the monkey pick up this one. But the same neuron activated when the monkey observes other monkey or experiment pickup. This is a big news because, as you know, brain times, the neural times, roughly speaking, separated two parts. Okay, perception and action. But the mirror neuron connect to each other. So the mirror neuron execute and observe the same time. This is very good news for us. The robot can understand the action of the others. If the robot has a library of the actions, some actions, and then observes others' action, oh, this is my action. Action 1, action 2. So therefore, understanding the motion, and then understanding the intention of the motion, and so on. So that's at the beginning, it's over expectation, but now it's just estimate the action itself. So we designed the mirror neuron system. So it's just a robot arm pushing and so on, so on. So the image is some sort of the deep learning, and also action, the movement of the joint together. And okay, I'll show you this one. The grasping, the pushing, and so on. Robot is, just image is a 128, 120, the 3 RGB image, and the 6 joint, and the 3 finger gripper, but it is 1 degree. Can't open, close, and something. And we just show 40 trajectory, its own, okay, like this one. So, long-term precision with vision only, it's okay. So, the robot trained its own movement many times, 40 trajectories. And then after the learning, just shows one first image, and then robot can predict very precisely. You can see that. The top is a prediction, and the bottom is a ground truth. You can see that image is almost the same. So this shows a latent space. At the beginning, the vision and the joint is separated. Okay, before the learning, you can see that the blue is vision and the red is the joint. And after the learning, the gradually learning process, so the both overlapped each other. Therefore, after learning, you show the image. The robot can imagine its movement, or you can show some movement. Then robot can imagine its image. So that's after learning. But interesting things happen. Very interesting happen. So 2 kinds of imitation, object-centered or egocentric. You can see that left the video image. Left image is a movement of others. The robot has not have any experience of observing others' motion. This is the first time. But even though the robot can imagine the imitation, this is egocentric, okay? Other robots, opponent robots, just push the cylinder to the own side, and then the robot imitate the same motion. That's the egocentric one. That's the mirror neuron system. On the other hand, effective imitation, if we show only the end effector, so only the object-based imitation happen. The robot, the cylinder pushed on the top or over there. So we're the 2 kinds of imitation, and actually, so the egocentric imitation is really the mirror neuron system. Okay, learned only the observed, only its own motion library and observe the other's motion. Image is so different, but somehow the robot can imagine the movement, its own movement. So this is a mirror neuron system. Still, we do not know how this works. Still, we are working on the, why it's happened. But sometimes, if only the vision, sometimes, the robot can be crazy, like this one, okay? So the image is broken, okay? So in this case, mirror neuron system is action, observing the action and its own motion, something. But the touching side, not only the action, but also the perception, it happened. Some guys, okay, we feel if we touched, we will be touched. But if we observe the image or the movie, someone be touched, and then we can feel the touch. So some researchers found that using the functional MRI. In the workshop, I will explain the functional MRI. But anyhow, the imaging, visual imaging studies of vision, the brain activities, the found using the that the secondary but not the primary. We have some motor area, the brain area. S1 is the somatosensory area. It's the body image, body sense. And the somatosensory area, second somatosensory area is a much higher representation of the body image. Anyhow, but not the primary somatosensory cortex is activated both when the participants were touched, really touched, and when they observed someone or something else getting touched. So not only the action, but also the perception. Why not the pain? So, this one. So observing the painful situation of others, robot may feel pain. So feel pain in others. That's the starting of the empathy. So I have almost no time. So I skip this one. And then this is the evolution of the empathy. Actually, Franz de Waal, he is a researcher of the non-human primate, the chimpanzee or gorilla or bonobo or something. So he claims that some evolution empathy starting the emotional contagion. The emotional contagion is, it's the beginning of the empathy. The two rats grown up in the same cage, rat A and rat B. Rat A eating some food. Rat B has an electric shock. Rat B stopped eating. Actually, rat A is not, this guy has not experience of the electric shock, but somehow stopped the eating. This is an emotional contagion. If the rat is grown up in a different cage, this possibility, this activity is lower. So grown up in the same cage is a much higher empathic concern. Okay. Anyhow, so this is just empathy. Okay. Physical environment, the social one, and finally the concept of model empathy. I suppose maybe almost the time up. Yeah. And this shows the conceptual model of the empathy development starting with mirror neuron system, and then. Okay. So sorry, I spoke so long. This is Morai tribes, the Joshua Green, and I skipped this one. Okay. Almost no time, and okay, yeah. So if you have time, I extend my talk in the workshop. In the workshop, David Talma's argument, and also I continued a little bit on this one. Anyhow, thank you for attention. Gracias por su atención. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor. We have time for 3 very short questions for people that want to do it. Someone wants to make a question? Like 3 very short ones.
Thank you. Very brief. When you talk about agency and robots, and it's very hard to stop. In control theory, there are mechanisms, but if you have a robot and you want it to stop because you're seeing a motion that it's potentially dangerous. For example, in football, I can go play and harm somebody, right? So it's very hard to decide when to stop and stop everything. So how do you manage that from a robotical and philosophical perspective?
It's a very good question. Actually, this time I happen to bring my slide of the consciousness. But the consciousness largely supported the unconscious part. A piece of the iceberg, you can see that. Only over the sea, just a little bit. But under the sea, big ice the clusters. So the conscious mind largely supported the unconscious process. So in case of the robotics, as you mentioned, the movement, almost the motor sends the motor command. After that, it's an unconscious level. You cannot control, right? In case of the humans. I suppose that if we design the robot, the consciousness, a conscious mind, and unconscious level, mainly unconscious level are much more. Actually, to be honest, in the robotics version, almost the unconscious level, it's a movement or the reaction and sensing. The higher level is a little bit. So the conscious level, unconscious level is much more important how to design. Now, of course, the conscious mind is also difficult to do. But anyhow, so as you mentioned, okay, send the motor command and start it already. And then it's very difficult to stop because this, we're under the conscious mind, unconscious level, already movement. So the unconscious level is some sort of the autonomy already. They have their own intention and some tracking. Therefore, post-diction is a conscious mind explanation. It's not the consciousness. It's just, under the unconscious level, some movement. But the conscious mind, they don't care. Therefore, the other explanation, completely different of the unconscious level movement. So the answer is so difficult for me too. Anyhow, it's so difficult, almost impossible to stop because the unconscious level movement automatically happen. So therefore, of course, you send the motor command to stop, but sometimes already too late. Did I answer to the question? It's okay.
Another question?
Okay, so I wrote this one down. In robotics, when do predicted responses to external stimuli are predetermined expressions? So my question is, when does it start becoming a genuine autonomy or reaction to that stimuli of like pain or sensory sensation?
That's another very difficult question to answer. Of course, we as robotics people designed how to react against the external stimuli, the vision or auditory or the physical touching, the collision and so on. So all the time, as I mentioned, the unconscious level is autonomic or embedded from the beginning most, or after the birth through the learning process, the experience. So at the beginning, it's just, for example, the movement, it's like a coach, it's this one, like this one. So the player, at the beginning, it's just follow the smoothly, not slowly. And experience, and then automatically get to some library, some automatic reflection. So in case of the robotics researcher, we try to, at the beginning, precisely describe how to react at the beginning, or some sort of the reinforcement learning through the experience. Then once we got some result of the learning, this result gets to the library. So there's like a reflection, reaction. So therefore, about the stimuli, how to react to the stimuli is at the beginning, it's like a explicit description, and then or some sort of learning. Then once we go to the library, and then like a reflection. So in the robotics, many people, most of the people explicitly describe or reinforcement learning or other learning method. Nowadays, the deep learning. So therefore, the many experiments, many data we need. So did I answer to the question? I'm not so sure. It's okay? Yeah, anyhow, so the robotics researchers all the time try to design. But the one more issue is that the material, the actuators, motors. I have shown the pneumatic actuators. It's a pneumatic, it's air. But most robot is the electric motors. They're much easier to control, but very hard and noisy. So sometimes it's difficult for the human-robot interactions. Anyhow, so we'll have to design this movement, and the behavior is now, I say maybe the 50% is a programmer explicitly, and 20 or 30% is the learning, something one. Okay.
We have one last question.
Yes. I would like to know what is the impact, or what do you think, what is the impact of AI on some occupations or specialties?
Sorry,
we couldn't hear. Could you repeat it?
Yes. What is the impact of AI on some occupations or specialties?
Intention of the AI?
Excuse me?
Oh, impact. Impact of the AI. Oh, that's so big. So big. Yeah, in the workshop, I tried to discuss about the ChatGPT. LLM could be the conscious or not. Yes, also many people reply that, no, LLM is not conscious. Yeah. But it's very, very close, appears. So why, and something. So the social impact is so big now. So yesterday, the round table, we discussed how so impact. The one guy says that no more professor, the university professors, ChatGPT is sufficient or something. Yeah. So today I mentioned the physical environment, and I suppose that the physical environment is that's the target for the ChatGPT now seeking for. But gradually, the ChatGPT take over. So what is the real meaning of the human factor is important. Anyhow, the social impact is so much. So therefore, as I mentioned, the legal system or ethical issue is now the big topic. Because the robotics researchers so far only design the function. Only the function. But the robotics researcher should consider if this function realized, what kind of social impact to the society? So sometimes, it's very convenient, the tools and the functions, okay. The humans could be the idle, so idle, no movement. So it's not so healthy, not so good. So we should consider about these issues, the ethical issues, and also legal issues too. Did I answer to the question? Okay.
Muchas gracias. Y ahora le entregamos un presente al doctor.
Thank you.
Aplausos.
Thank you. Oh. Thank you.
Para todos los que se quieran quedar al taller, vamos a hacer un break de 3 minutos para desalojar el salón a los que se tengan que ir y comenzamos en 3 minutos el taller con el doctor Minoru.
Okay, second one.
Okay. Yeah.